Hi, this is Lainy from Achievement for All, and I'm joined by Maureen Hunt, Head of Early Years. And Maureen has written a very interesting blog on transitions. And this particular video is more aimed at leadership and management and how to manage those transitions back into an early years setting. So Maureen, just tell us, what are some of the challenges do you think for leaders and managers in this period of time?
Right, well, traditional transition policies often focus on events in the summer term. Now, those events in this summer term probably won't have happened or can't happen, and that will leave a kind of black hole of transition processes that, children won't have had and staff won't have had. So what I would urge leaders and managers to do now is to think, actually, is this a good opportunity to completely rethink what we do so that we can actually look at transition in the future as being more of a process than an event? That way, if anything like this ever happens again, you haven't lost everything. It isn't an all or nothing thing. Transition is a gradual building on what's come before, and that starts from day one, from the first interaction in the child right the way through. It doesn't need to be left to a summer term picnic or an afternoon in a new class. So the challenges I think are going to face this year, going back to those very briefly, is that children are going to experience, if we don't do something about it, a sudden and abrupt change, and that will mean that some, particularly more vulnerable children, might fall through the gap because some of them will struggle. It might throw up issues around behaviour for children who feel anxious and concerned and not comfortable or safe or secure in their environment. It'll throw up issues for teachers because they won't have had the time to get to know the children and plan for them, correctly to meet their needs. So I don't think any of that is not savable. I think there are things that we can do, but I think we need to think now about how you're going to do this for this term, and actually how we can do it better going forward, because I don't see transition as a summer term event. I see transition as a journey. And what does the journey of this child look like?
Yeah, it's interesting because I've heard you talk about that before, Maureen, about the whole kind of it's not just an event, it's a process around people, and we're supposed to be looking at people rather than just set times in a calendar. And I think that's a really important message, but I think probably an important message for anybody who's doing transition with any age group going into, to be honest, but particularly around young children and their families, because I think sometimes as well, families need a bit of a process to let their young child go into the next stage or the next setting as well, don't they? So yes, I think it's really worth noting that we're talking about it being a process around people and not this event type thing. And then also for leaders and managers, I guess the thing is dealing with their staff. Like, what can they expect? What's going to be different? What do they need to put in place to support their staff?
Well, as I said, traditional processes, probably won't have taken place. So a complete rethink about how they are going to be able to let their staff build relationships with parents and children going forward is going to be, I think, quite vital. Yeah. But the good news is you've got time now to sit and think about this. I mean, is the transition policy in the school, is it completely reliant on face-to-face events, or could things be put online? Could you have teacher blogs online talking about their classes, could you have children online talking about what it's like to come to this school, what the dinners are like, how what playtimes are like, things like that. There's an opportunity there to get things online so that we can get this communication. One thing I would say is a lot of transition policies are very, very outward facing. They focus on what they think parents need to know about their children coming to school. And what I would say is actually turn it on its head. Focus on what do you need to know about your children and the person and the people that know about that are the parents and carers. So what can you do this term to get your parents and carers engaged in some dialogue with you around the children that are coming into your school or your setting, so that you're well prepared for them? Don't focus on giving parents too much information. That's another thing that can be put online or sent, links sent to them. Focus on asking the right questions. And how can you support those parents? You picked up a very good point, Lainy, when you talked about the fact that sometimes parents find it hard as well. Could you put in place, parent buddies, so that parents have got someone to talk to about their child coming into school? And the other thing that I think really is key to all of this is evaluate your transition policies. Really look at, okay, we got to September, or we got to the end of the September. How did it go? How well did our children settle? How happy are our parents? Did we get it right? And the only way to know that is to ask them, to actually get them involved in telling you, well, this bit was good, that bit was good, but I really would have liked it if you had done this more for us. So really taking the time to really rethink things. One of the things we did when we worked with a group of schools and settings in Sheffield was to get the Senko from the school working with the Senko from the preschool. Just occasionally sitting down once a term to talk about children, quite informally. I've got this child who will be coming to you sometime next year. These are the issues we're facing. What do you think? Getting them to talk about things. And then when those children did end up in school, the school were much better prepared for them. They were much better able to meet their needs. And it didn't arrive as a big shock. Because that's one of the feedbacks you get from schools all the time, is that they get children landing on their doorstep that they didn't realise had additional needs. And quickly have to rush around trying to put things in place for them. So spend time, give your staff time to liaise with the parents, give your staff time to liaise with the feeder preschools, time to talk about these children, which I think is a really, really big thing, really. But of course, this is all going to be put into this new transition module and pack that we're launching. And it's all central to our Achieving Early and our Achieving Early Firm Foundation programmes as well, which may be of interest to schools. The Achieving Early Firm Foundation programme focuses on the transition out of reception and into year one, bridging that gap and making sure that it is a smooth process for children as well. So there's lots in our early years programmes around supporting transition.
Brilliant. So we're going to put some links for people to look at. So we will put the links to the early years package and the reviews. And we're probably going to put some links towards emotion coaching and well-being for people. So leaders, managers can start to have a look at those things too, in case they want to use any of the support there. But I guess, so our kind of the resounding thing I get from you, it's about people, it's about communication, it's about talking. And while you're talking, it's about listening and really making sure you hear what those parents are saying, and also what your staff are saying, to put new processes in place. And maybe I think also your message has been kind of unpick those policies. Don't just live with the policy you've got.
Absolutely.
Policy and really start to listen to people and what's the most beneficial for everyone all round, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, if you found value in what we've been talking about today and you're interested in the work that we do, please see the other link here that will invite you to pop £1 in the pot towards our charity to keep us running. Thank you ever so much for listening. We'll be back with more information soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.